Hi, welcome to our Secure AI Race Strategy project. So, in this project, we basically focused on enhancing race strategy in motorsports by combining machine learning, telemetry, and cybersecurity. One of our goals was to create a system that can quickly analyze historical data to help race engineers make more efficient decisions with strategy. At the same time, this created another goal of ours, which was our cybersecurity goal, making sure that our model would not fall victim to any spoofing attacks, because this can be very, very dangerous on the track, where the model might be injected with a bunch of values that are not possible or safe, and the engineer might be going off of those values thinking that the model is reliable, when in actuality it's been injected with all of these values that are going to create very unsafe conditions. So throughout this presentation, you'll see exactly the workflow in creating the model as well as the future prospects for it. To better understand the composition of our projects, we split it up into two components: an artificial intelligence race strategy model and a spoofing protection model. So the AI race strategy model is meant to complement the role of a race engineer. These are people that basically live on the track, they're analyzing live telemetry data, and are making decisions really fast to optimize strategy during a race. Our tool will be used to support them in analyzing both historical and real-time data using the machine learning. So then spoofing is the injection of data that is not actually real. Imagine that like you're on the track and you're trying to make the very fast decision and you're seeing all of these values coming in and they're not true. You might suggest really dangerous strategy options to the driver and they might be really confused but trust you anyways. And so that can be really unsafe on its own. So our project literally simulates this by having an interactive injection site where you would see that it does not pass through. Our project demonstrates how artificial intelligence can enhance race strategy by enabling data-driven decisions. With access to as accurately as possible telemetry data, our model was able to provide insight on what went wrong, what could have improved, and what went well. At the same time, it was important to realize there is a huge security component there because it has the potential for getting hacked. And this could have been something as simple as a spoofing attack, where race engineers might be under the wrong impression of what's actually happening on the track. So this can lead to incorrect strategies or even really unsafe conditions that could ultimately lead to death. This is why this project took a focus on securing those systems, because we created a really foundational prototype that tried to combine prediction automation as well as cybersecurity in order to baseline these AI systems in the future. So really it was more of an educational tool to learn from, because it educated users, engineers, and experts alike to see how these attacks can interfere with performance.
Some real-life examples that we see of cyber attacks on not just Formula One cars, but in high-speed vehicles in general can include spoofing, in which speed data that the strategist might see could be over or under what the F1 drivers may be driving at, causing the strategist to approve significant increases in speed, which could lead to potentially dangerous outcomes. Other examples can include the way keys are paired on the 2017 Tesla Model X, in which unauthorized users could be able to connect remotely, potentially leading to CAN bus and ECU remote attacks due to weak points of encryption. Another example is a Corvette hack in 2015, which involved a vulnerability in OBD2 ports, allowing researchers to remotely control essential functions of the vehicles like the brakes through text messages with an adapter connected to the internet, which sent commands to the CAN bus. This highlights how important securing a race strategy system is, as well as the communication between the system and the car sensors, not just for the accuracy in the data that is produced, but for the overall safety of all the drivers who are already going in dangerously high speeds. For a project workflow, just as how we want to make sure that drivers who are already going high speeds don't go even faster, causing potential risks, and for this, we considered vulnerabilities that can lead to this outcome, including spoof sensors, odometer readings, engine skewed data, tire damages that do not exist, and more. We would implement an AI algorithm based on real values from the first half of the 2022 Formula One racing season. And our project setup will include the data collection, cleansing of the data, algorithm development, simulating Bluetooth hijacking and spooking, mitigation techniques through anomaly detection, as well as an incident report.
Security integration. Encrypted Bluetooth connections. Securing these connections from the start greatly minimizes the risk for open attacks to hide, including any other basic level wireless attack. Anomaly detection. An algorithm to detect abnormalities within the inputted data to easily identify injections or interferences. Traffic log. Log all traffic that enters and exits to keep tabs, great for auditing. Threat and risk identification. Possible threats include Bluetooth spoofing/hijacking, which is where an attacker impersonates a legitimate or trusted Bluetooth device to gain unauthorized access to a targeted device. Data poisoning, which is when an attacker corrupts a model's training data and attempts to manipulate its behavior. Denial of service attacks, or DOS, is when a machine, service, or a network is sent an overwhelming amount of illegitimate traffic or requests for the intended purpose of causing harm to them. Unauthorized access is when a user gains access to a system, machine, or service in which they are not supposed to have access to. Now the risk. Incorrect algorithm/strategy. This can be manipulated by data poisoning if the system's training data is somehow leaked or gotten access to by an unauthorized user. Unsafe driver/engineer. Can be caused by spoofing due to the engineer telling the driver to accelerate, since on the engineer side it shows he is not going the speed he is supposed to be going. Due to the increased speed, driver has higher chance of losing control. System outages. This can be caused by a DOS attack, which can affect the engineer and the security system. Delayed patch deployment. This is usually done to grant extra time for the IT team to test and bug fix updates before they are released. Hidden advantages. An example of one is if a driver gets spoofed and it shows he is going 270 instead of 300. For the engineer will most likely tell him to go 30 miles per hour faster, which means they are now actually going at 330 instead of 300, which can cause some advantages and disadvantages. Now the risk matrix. As you can see on the left, we have the impact of risk from high to low, and then on the top, the likelihood from low to high. Starting in the top left, you can see unsafe driver/engineer decisions on both high and medium in impact, and only on low in likelihood. This is because although the engineer can tell the driver to speed up and they usually know better, the driver can still make decisions if they are aware and cautious. This is what keeps it at a low likelihood, but they still have a chance of crashing. On the bottom left, we see unsafe advantages, which is placed there because no physical damage will happen to the driver except maybe getting disqualified for exceeding speed limits. In the medium section of both impact and likelihood, we can see data poisoning and system outages. These can cause damage if they are left unattended, but the driver can improvise, so not as much risk. Now, at medium impact and high likelihood, we see denial of service attack and incorrect algorithm/strategy. These can all cause high damage, but if monitored, the damage can be controlled and kept to a minimum. Delayed patch deployment located on low impact and high likelihood can cause huge issues if a bug introduces a new vulnerability. As long as the IT team works in advance and does regular testing, it should not be an issue. Then we can see our first and second red on high impact and on both medium and high likelihood. This is because the hack can someone just changing the speed, making it look like the driver is going 50 above the actual limit, so the engineer tells them to slow down.
We implement several keys mitigation techniques to strengthen overall system security. First, we use mandatory authentication keys and MAC address detection supported by anomaly algorithms. These algorithms help us identify any value or device behaviors that don't make sense, allowing us to quickly spot unauthorized MAC address or suspicious activity. We also secure wireless communication by restricting Bluetooth pairing. Pairing is only allowed for a 2-minute window, and both devices must complete a PIN confirmation, ensuring that only trust sources can establish a connection. In addition, we apply the Zero Trust principle together with the SIA tribe. Only authorized individuals can access sensitive parts of the system, and their access is time limited. Any change they can make must be logged to maintain confidentiality and integrity, while this is still providing the ability needed for operation. Altogether, these measures create a layered defense strategy that reduces unauthorized access, improves detection, and keeps the system reliable and secure. For every attack, the first step is detection, where our anomaly detection system flags abnormal values. Once something suspicious is identified, we move into investigation, tracking where the packets were sent, received, or intercepted to understand the attack vector. If the threat is confirmed, we enter recovery. The system immediately terminates the section. Bluetooth pairing are shut down, and the driver is instructed to pull into a pit stop to prevent further damage. We then reestablish secure communication, challenge, and collect data using a secure backup. After the incident, we perform a full post-incident analysis, creating a playback of the event to see exactly what happened. Finally, in the prevention state, we apply patches, update address detection rules, and review open ports and incorporate any AI flags data. The lifecycle ensures fast detection, control the recovery, and continuous improvement after every incident.
When we look 5 years into the future of racing, AI becomes a true real-time strategy partner. Instead of just reacting to telemetry, the AI will help engineers by predicting tire wear, identifying the strongest pit window, and evaluating strategy options faster than a human. In a 10-year outlook, this becomes even more advanced. We expect full digital twin systems running in parallel with the real car, comparing ideal performance to actual telemetry every second. At this stage, AI won't just suggest decisions. It will validate incoming data, detect spoofed or abnormal values, and even auto-adjust strategy when conditions change. The future of motorsports is heading towards teams supported by intelligence systems that optimize performance while keeping decisions safe and reliable. To prepare for this next generation of AI-driven racing, we focused on how to future-proof the system. The first layer is securing wireless communication. As cars rely more on Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and live telemetry, the risk of spoofing and hijacking increases. So our strategy includes encrypted channels, restricted pairing windows, and strict device authentication. The second layer is internal data validation. Instead of blindly accepting every data point, the AI cross-checks telemetry against expected patterns and digital twin model. If something looks unrealistic, like impossible speeds, sudden temperature spikes, or unknown MAC addresses, the system can flag it or block it instantly. We also introduce automatic protocol switching. If one wireless method is compromised, the AI can move to a safer channel without interruption. This ensures that strategies remains operational and secure even during an attack. In conclusion, our project brings together the two pillars shaping the future of motorsports: AI-driven performance and strong cybersecurity. The race strategist that we built analyzes real race data, identifies improvements, and generates structured recommendations to support engineers during competitions. At the same time, the security system ensures the data the AI receives is authentic, verified, and protected. Without this layer, even the best strategists could make bad calls if the telemetry was spoofed. So these two components work together. One enhances performance, the other protects the integrity of the information. As racing becomes more digital and connected, this combination becomes essential. What we built is a preview of the industry's direction: faster, smarter, and far more secure.